Hello, everybody. I don't know why there's a need for me to want to share. Um, because there's so many people doing it for me where I don't need to speak. But the thing is, those that are speaking are operating from a place of having a soul. And there's not enough experienced people who operate from not having a soul. Now this might go over your head, but the soul is of the world. The spirit is not. Long time ago, growing up, I've always read. I used to read a lot the Bible. Always read it. Sometimes I still go to it, uh, just to make certain points. But I've always questioned it. Like even with Moses and the Old Testament versus the New Testament, and how it was always contradicting. I used to talk to the people like, yo, how does Moses know the beginning of creation when he wasn't even there? And they was like, oh, he spoke to God in the burning bush, and God revealed everything. But that always kept, that was always like in me. Then you read the New Testament, and you see how Paul or even Jesus would speak about Moses like he never spoke to God, and that the only God that they needed to speak to was the one that Jesus was representing. So there was a contradiction. Most won't point that out. I mean, I could get the Bible and show you verse for verse where Jesus is saying, contradicting Moses, and this is why the Jews were like against Jesus, and eventually, they crucified him because he was going against an old paradigm. And the more you study, but then I realizing, right, reading the Bible and the Old Testament, I was interested in where was he getting these ideas, right? But then you go further and you realize, wait, there was religion already. Moses was copying the Ten Commandments from an older system, from the Babylonians and shit. And then you realize there's older religions, that basically they all kind of prophesized in this one who would come, which was Jesus. But they were just reading into the stars. So Jesus and the 12 disciples just played a role. They were real characters, but they played a role to fulfill a larger movement. And so people focus on the wrong things. These were things done because in the early times people were trying to figure out, what created us through the logos symbology. You can't understand Um, you can't understand something anthropomorphic with a human understanding or human language or human anything. Um, there isn't a language, there isn't a word or a mind, so long as it's human, that can comprehend what is uncomprehendable. But humans will try their best and creates wonderful stories to ease the mind for the people that wish to be put at ease. The problem is with time that these things uh, were used to control the people, not just put them at ease. Um, so, in the age of Moses, we're talking about the age of Taurus, if I'm not uh, incorrect. And then the age of Jesus was the age of Pisces. So, as you know, in the Old Testament, God was evil, sacrificed bulls and all that stuff. That's why it was the age of Taurus. In the New Testament, the age of Pisces, Jesus. Now God is more gentle. Anybody with a right mind would know that God is forever and unchanging. But yet you see in the old versus the new that God changes, which is a contradiction. Now, um, the Bible is used, like I said, as a weapon to control the masses, saying that if you learned anything or altered the Bible, you're something of the devil. But to the people who are woke or awakened, we're not in the age of Taurus or in the age of Pisces. We're in the age of the Aquarius, which means a new religion has to be formed, which has already been formed, the Nag Hammadi script, where it doesn't just it doesn't start where Moses started in the Old Testament, where with Genesis. It goes before, you know, the creation of the planets, because people now in this age of Aquarius are trying to form a new conscious, rightly so, but many are still stuck in the New Testament, which is the Old Testament for the new Aquarius age generation. People are stuck on calling it the New Testament, which is just a misconstrued, misconception. Because what it really is just an Old Testament. And the New Testament, which is, let's say, the Nag Hammadi, is the New Testament for the age of Aquarius. Is it 100%? You know, like it's a lot of missing things, a lot of missing words. It's meant for you to formulate and seek internal guidance instead of looking in the clouds, you know. So yeah, so just watching the many souls talk about the Old Testament or the New Testament, it's like watching an archaic language or ancient people, you know? They're not of this generation. They're not making sense. And what is old must be shed to formulate a new creation. So God is adaptable. God adapts and adopts. If you don't adapt or adopt, you're left behind. So yeah, like we have to mature, and by maturing I mean like we have to have the gall or audacity or courage uh, to outgrow certain things like the Old Testament and the New Testament, and and what has been said for us to follow in the New Testament. These are all things, like I said, of ancient generations. We're in a new age. You have it. You're lucky. You're lucky where you can formulate a new religion, and you have the old and the new to formulate something even better. Now, the Nag Hammadi scripts, which was surfaced in 1945, I think, is like I said, is meant to open up your eyes. And nothing in the Old Testament or in the New Testament helps you open your third eye. But in the Nag Hammadi, through your imagination, you can activate your third eye. Of course, with practice, knowing your seven chakras, knowing, meditation, uh, leaving the world behind. Nothing in this world that is filled with words and things that are written by men can describe what is God. Not even those hieroglyphics in Egypt. The earth itself leaves a lot of logos that could be describing, for all we know, a civilization that took place deep, deep under the water, under sea. Like Aquaman. So they could be describing a civilization that took place way before civilization that took place on the ground. So for men to be deciphering these logos that could be talking about other worlds, we somehow manipulate and alter it to describe what's going on in our world. By mentioning, maybe historical figures. We'll mention historical figures to make things sense. We're trying to make sense of all this. But it's just an imagination. Man is the imagination of Zog. We are created in the image of Zog, the imagination of Zog. So yeah, man, the more you the more you rid yourself of your soul, the more you become awakened. That which is moved with no body is greater than that which is moved by nature. And that which is moved with no body is you can't grasp it. It's contradictory to that which is moved in nature. So yeah, I just wanted to, watching so many souls in this world makes you want to say something, but then it's like there's nothing to be said. You know what I mean? If I planted a seed, it grew and it became its own thing, its own creation. You are that creation. Now, all I have to do is be out of mind, out of sight, and watch you blossom. I just say, take heed in not repeating past errors. You had the old, you have the new, which to me is the old, and now you're in a new age, the age of Aquarius, the water bearer. Pouring my water for whoever wants their thirst quench. If you have ears, hear. If you have eyes, see. But be sure that nothing that you do in the material world will satisfy, or better yet, nothing that you do in the material world will alleviate the burdensome that comes with it. You have to be soulless. To be soulless is to be full of spirit. To be full of spirit is to be detached from the world and be connected to God. Zag. And I just recommend you read, Don't get stuck on things that are meant to be allegory or fables to be literally. Be more. I think, and this is from my internal searching, I've come to realize that reincarnation is a prison sentence. It's not something to look forward to. This might sound like blasphemy, but it's a prison sentence. Because what I've realized is that humans don't want to live. Humans don't want to be on the earth. And the spirits, the souls, or the spirits, the souls are fighting to they're fighting, these spirits are fighting to find bodies. They're in a struggle for life, to find people, humans, to live through. Because humans don't want to live. Humans know, if you go further and study, humans know that life is a prison sentence, and life is meant for someone to struggle and suffer and go through all these things, ultimately not advance. You don't get advanced, you know what I mean? So humans don't want to reincarnate. They don't want to live. They want to die and not come back. I mean, the ones that know. And so there's a fight, there's a war. I think there's like a struggle for these souls and spirits to find humans to live through. And our human capacity is not doing it for us. So they're in a position now where they have to do more to entice us, to intrigue us, to convince us to want to be living as human bodies. Because I'd rather go to another realm. I'd rather go to another dimension, another planet, another, Earth is here, another level here, another planet here, you know what I mean? I don't want to go from here and stay here, So it's a prison sentence. And the spirits are realizing that the humans are waking up and we don't want to be on Earth. So now they're like, damn, we got to do something for the humans so that the humans could love and want to live again. Where I think we have to mutate or change our genes. Because we were probably stripped of something in our creation. And that something that was stripped from us is keeping us from seeing the whole picture, or 3/4 of the picture. Instead, we're just looking at it with 1/4 of the picture or half of the picture, because we were stripped of this. So now they gotta be like, we gotta give them back their thing, whatever it is it was, so that we can see the 3/4 of a picture and be like, okay, now it's worth living. Now it's worth going, to Earth and reincarnate and stuff like that, because there's nothing here for the spirit, for the mind. There's nothing here in the material world that can help us gain more light. Unless we get rid of it, unless we rid our souls. Anyway, I didn't want to sound all deep and philosophical, but maybe somebody needed to hear this. Like I said, I don't need to say anything. You're gonna take my words and probably go delve deeper into it and have discussions and whatnot. I don't even got the live thing, so I'm not making money off of this, but you probably use that to an advantage and uh, reiterate with new iterations everything I said while making money, which is good. I'm not knocking you. Um, I just think you're bearing the soul. You're living through souls. And living through souls is worrisome, because then you're like scrolling and you're looking and then you're like, damn, I want to say something. Now you're like, can what happens when this is gone? will you will you know how to function again? Will you be all right if you realize you're nobody and all these thousands of followers that you have are now gone? I think I have like 19 followers on this. Thank you, by the way, but I don't even know them. Not really. I don't know any of my followers, all 19 followers that I have. But if I wasn't on this app or any of it, it wouldn't make a difference. But can you say the same? I know how to live alone in solitude because I've had to, um, forcibly, but then it became something that I desired because it brought peace. Like I said, you want to detach from the souls of the world, because living in the world is nothing but problems. A lot of people suffer from mental issues, don't know how to deal with it. A lot of people don't like responsibilities. A lot of people, you know what I mean, got drug issues. I smoke weed, but there's a lot of things I've controlled. Nobody's perfect, but I could be without it. God, if planet Earth was to disappear, God would continue. Zog will continue without the humans. Zog would only look, and the thing is, humans are only focused on how Zog sees us. But if the world was evaporated and God and no more humans existed, the universe would still exist. The sun will still be there and the other planets will still be there. Zog don't have to do nothing, because that which is moved from nothing creates new existence. So new species will probably form and formulate a new language just to identify or describe what created them in a new alien language that has nothing to do with Earth. That's the thing. Humans think that Earth is the only planet that's inhabited. For all we know, Zog is focusing on other planets besides our own. I mean, he knows everything, right? Zog is everywhere at the same time. And he knows about all those species underneath the water that humans still can't even find and describe, because they can't go that far deep underwater. And so instead of trying to go in outer space, first learn to go to the core of Earth, see what's under there. I doubt you make it, because you're not meant to. And from my internal guidance, that's where God first started with his practice, and then moved on with the humans. So God was focusing on other species before humans came into existence. And we're so we're so stuck on thinking that it's just all about us, when there was others before us. And like I said, if Earth wasn't here, Zog would still exist, you know? Other planets, everything would still function. Our spirit is immortal. We just won't be humans living on the planet Earth. We'll probably be trying to go somewhere else. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say, because I see a spiral going down where a lot of people are gonna be more depressed than ever because of a hole that they can't fill, an emptiness that no matter how much money or how much fans or viewers or followers you get, you won't be able to fill. And that is a realization you have to come to grips with. Which takes maturity and a level of not giving up to these new advents of social networking. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Sounding all mysterious and shit, but I just, like I said, maybe it's the spirit talking through me. But I want no part of souls. We deal with souls. We deal with the world and all the evil in it. We're mixed with it. We have no choice but to be contaminated with it. But one can refine himself by going after what's good, rather than sticking with what's bad. And you can only find what's good from the mind, from the heart, the eye and the heart, the eye and the mind. Those two eyes. So that's that with all of that.